Hi, thanks for visiting Vorian. My name is Vori, and if this is your first time, then a sub and a like to the channel would be greatly appreciated. First of all, thank you for those of you that's been supporting me thus far, and let's talk about Resident Evil 2. The remake version that is not written there because the original one was in 1998 and I actually get a chance to experience it, although did not get past the title screen because I was such a scaredy cat. I was such a wuss at the time. I only played like about 5 minutes. Oh my god, I cannot stand zombie games at a time. Anyway, this is my gameplay on live stream, I think a few months back. Let's just fast forward a little bit and get into the action. Okay, here we go. While I'm talking here, talking points actually that I want to highlight, my review, my impression about Resident Evil 2 that I have finally get in touch with after several years of its release. And you know, zombie games always my favorite, especially this one because backtracking, yeah, this is my first point actually, backtracking is very significant in this game. So it is actually the core mechanic in Resident Evil 2 remake, perhaps even more noticeable than in some other entries. The Raccoon City Police Department in particular is designed like an intricate puzzle box. You'll constantly be finding keys, tools, puzzle items that unlock new rooms in areas you've already explored multiple times. While the in-game map does an excellent job tracking locked doors, usable items, and points of interest, the sheer amount of revisiting areas is undeniable. For some, this creates a satisfying sense of finally unlocking a stubborn door or accessing a previously unreachable item. But for others, especially when under pressure from threats like Mr. X, that huge guy that you just saw in the beginning there, it can feel tedious or like artificial padding. It's very much a defining characteristic inherited from classic survival horror design. Oh yeah, of course, the genre, survival horror. Wow, I forgot about that. The second part that I want to highlight is the scariness and modern graphic. So this is actually an interesting point. While the realistic graphics make the gore incredibly visceral and the monster designs, especially the zombies and lickers, genuinely grotesque and unsettling, the overall type of fear might shift for some players, like me, compared to the original, because at the time I was still a child and maybe those pixel arts actually feels much more realistic in my fantasy, in my imagination. So that's probably why. The original's fixed camera angles often created scares through limited visibility. Oh yeah, and that one's also, I want to remind you, the fixed camera makes you feel like you're in actual box, unlike this one. You can you know switch around between angles, you can see your surroundings, stuff like that actually makes our viewpoint much wider, and that causes less sense of loneliness there, and that's probably why I'm not as scared as in the past. Anyway, the remake's over-the-shoulder camera gives the player more direct control and awareness, which can lessen that specific type of environmental dread for some. However, the remake compensates heavily with other elements. The sound design is exceptional, using creaks, groans, distant footsteps, and the terrifying persistent thudding of Mr. X to build immense tension. The lighting is often oppressive, relying on your flashlight in dark corridors, and this probably is the type of game that highlights that certain points. I mean, you need to be immersive into the game, right? So this has to happen. The third point I want to highlight, a challenge for puzzle for newcomers. I mean, the Resident Evil 2 remake could certainly pose a challenge for players not accustomed to puzzle adventure elements. The puzzles aren't typically standalone brain teasers isolated from the environment. Instead, they often involve observation, item combination, exploration and deduction, spatial reasoning, like understanding the layout of areas like RPG to navigate efficiently during time sequences or while being pursued. The solutions aren't always immediately obvious and often require careful reading or collected files or thorough exploration. If you're primarily an action gamer or new to games requiring this kind of item hunting and environmental puzzle solving, you might find yourself stuck or needing to consult a guide more often than players familiar with the genre. The added pressure of limited resources and dangerous enemies make solving these puzzles even more demanding. Yeah, while you're trying to solve puzzles, like there's zombies around you that's trying to bite you, hit you, and do whatever. So in conclusion, the Resident Evil 2 remake is a high-quality, tense survival horror experience. It fully embraces backtracking as part of its core design, uses its modern presentation to create visceral horror and sustain tensions going beyond just jump scares, and features environmental puzzles that, while logical within the game's world, can be a hurdle for those new to the genre.